Shipwrights of the North Sea Redux is a new imagining of the original Shipwrights of the North Sea. In this game, players are drafting cards which will give them Jarls, craftspeople, townsfolk, buildings, and of course, ships. Players will start the game with a ship, a laborer, a hut, workers, and some resources. The game takes place over 5 rounds, and each round there are 5 phases. In the first phase, you will reveal a new round card. On the back of the card here, it reminds you that you may always trade 1 oak, 1 wool, and 1 iron for 1 gold. It also reminds you that gold is wild and worth 1 point at the end of the game. The front of the newly revealed card shows what trades are available during this round. In this case, 3 coins for 1 oak and 2 coins for 1 iron or 1 wool. Next comes the drafting phase. Each player will draw 6 village cards, select 1 to keep, and then pass the cards to either the left or the right. The direction of the draft is shown on the round card here. The drafting will continue until all players have 6 village cards. Note that in a solo or 2-player game, the draft works a bit differently, which is shown here in the rulebook. The next phase is the actions phase, which is the majority of the game, and this phase is done simultaneously. In this phase, you'll be using your workers and your village cards, and you must play all 6 of your drafted village cards. Let's go through all the actions now. First, you can discard any village card to gain the benefit shown above the red X here. These can be 1 resource, 1 village card, 1 gold, 2 silver, or 1 worker. You may also play or recruit a townsfolk. If you play them, you will do the ability in the brown banner and then discard them. If you recruit them, you will pay 1 gold and tuck them underneath a building that does not already have a tucked card. You may also recruit a craftsperson. These can be placed onto your player board for free, or you may spend 1 gold to tuck them underneath a free building. We'll talk about how you use these craftspeople in a moment. You may also tuck Jarls underneath your building by spending 1 gold. These will give you endgame points, but mostly will allow you to move up these tracks. Anytime you see these symbols, you will move up those tracks. There are 3 tracks: military, trade, and renown. As you move up these tracks, you will gain bonuses, which we'll talk about in a bit. We've talked about tucking cards underneath your buildings, but how do we get them? Buildings are village cards, and you construct buildings by paying the cost in the top left corner. You will return the workers and resources to the supply and then gain any track bumps on the right side. The building will go down into your tableau, and they will have a worker placement spot that you can place your workers. There are a few different places you can place your workers. You may place them on buildings to gain the benefit, and if there are any townsfolk tucked underneath that card, you may do their ability as well, and you may activate these in any order. You may also place your workers on your player board on these spaces provided there is not a card there. Keep in mind that you may also do trades at any time according to the round card. If you have reached 4, 8, or 12 of the military track, you will have fortresses you may raid once per round. How many workers this takes depends on your place on the military track and is shown at the top of the card. The last thing you may do is, of course, construct longships. To start, you must place the longship card onto your player board. The requirements for the ship are in the top left corners. This here is the workers and resources it takes to make the longship, and at the very top is the skills needed to make the ship. These skills come from your craftspeople. Each craftsperson can do 2 skills, 1 major skill that they're better at, therefore it's free, and 1 minor skill that takes 1 silver for them to be able to do. If the craftsperson is on your player board when you use them, they will be discarded after their skill is used. However, if you use the skills of a craftsperson tucked underneath a building, they will stay where they are and they can be used again on another ship. You also have a laborer who can do any skill. To activate this, you must spend 1 gold and discard 1 village card without getting the bonus. Completed longships will go into your tableau, and they will also bump the tracks shown on the right side, and they're worth points at the end of the game. Longships may give you an immediate effect, give you something during the income phase, or have endgame scoring. Once players have done all the actions they would like to do, we move into phase 4, the gain income phase. During income, you will activate all cards with an income icon. You will then return all placed workers back to your supply and flip over any raid cards you used. The last phase is distributing hero cards. Each track has an associated hero, and whoever is farthest along that track gains that hero. If a player does not gain any of the main 3 heroes, they will gain a Randy hero card instead. The hero cards will give you a special ability as long as you have them. After heroes are distributed, the round will end and you will move on to the next round. Let's quickly talk about these tracks. As you move up these tracks, you will gain benefits when you hit 4, 8, and 12. We've already talked about the military track, but when you hit these milestones on the trade track, you will gain the top card from the trade deck. This must be immediately tucked underneath a completed longship, or you may gain the benefits at the top. As you hit the milestones on the renown track, you will get to upgrade your cards. You may flip over and upgrade your starting ship, your laborer, or your starting hut. The game will end after 5 rounds. Players will then count their scores. You will score for your longships, including endgame scoring at the bottom. You will score your buildings and recruited Jarls. You will score points for reaching certain spaces on the 3 tracks. You will gain points for your hero cards and upgraded laborer. And lastly, every gold is worth 1 point. And the player with the most points will win.